Hello, you're welcome to another interesting episode of Inside Out. And this week, we have a topic that I think should concern all of us as Nigerians. A lot of our graduates come out today, young people, they're on the streets looking for 9-to-5 jobs. And there aren't that many anyway. And so we have so many of them roaming around the streets and not being able to be innovative or inventive. So I'm wondering, is education as it should be? And what is education anyway? Is it for you to go to school, come and through school, study, like a lot of us used to do, cram, vomit, immediately you leave the hall. When they ask you, what was the name of that plant? You can't even remember the question, not to talk about the answer. But you crammed enough to get a B or a C, and then you come out with a let my people go degree, which is the 2-2, isn't it? Yes, is that what education is about? Do we really learn anything? What is education? What is it supposed to be? Let me introduce my guests first, who I am sure would do justice to this topic. I mean, seasoned educationist, all three people on the panel, and I'm sure we will get an education by the time we're done with this. Please help me welcome Mr. Taiwo Olaniran. He's the CEO, Trophies and Laurels Limited. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Mrs. Patience Amayo, she's an education consultant. You're welcome, Ma, again. Dr. Okay Yemi, he's a lecturer of the Faculty of Law, University of Lagos. You're welcome, sir. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Taiwo. I know there are probably many definitions. Your definition of education, or the dictionary definition, or however you see it, because you're an educationist. Let's hear from you.
Thank you very much. Education is a human right that is supposed to be gotten by virtually everybody that is human. Education is so many things to so many people, but I'm going to be looking at it from a particular perspective.
Okay.
Number one, I want to define education basically by concentrating on the functions or what purposes education is supposed to actually perform in the lives of individuals. Education, to me, is supposed to be an avenue by which the society produces well-rounded personalities who will be so empowered through the system of education itself, so empowered as to contribute meaningfully to the development of that society. Not just the society. Before you begin to talk about, the society, the educational system producing a well-rounded personality, that well-rounded personality should achieve self-actualization. Education should give self-actualization. Education should produce well-rounded personality. Education should empower the individual so much so as to contribute meaningfully to the development of the society that has produced him or her.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dr. Okay, I'd like to hear from you what your definition of education is.
Well, I look at education as a process.
As a process?
As a process, ongoing process. Mm-hmm. Never ends at any point in time. Okay. It's a process of skill acquisition, enlightenment, and reformation of a person, which is affordable, available, and accessible. We have to look at it as a whole. You go to school to acquire skills. The skills must impart on you as a person and what you're able to do for your society. That's why we emphasize you passing through the school and allowing the school to pass through you. And that is why I don't know of any university in Nigeria that gives a certificate on learning alone.
On learning alone?
No.
Okay.
Degrees are given on learning and character. You could be a first-class student learning-wise, and you could be F student character-wise. You're still not supposed to get a degree. If you can't afford it, that's not education. If it's not available, in terms of quality and quantity, that's no education. Because the right message must be given and the right message must be received. If you are imparting the right message or messages or instruction, and that is not getting imparted on the student, you still be held to have failed in your duty. Is that you are not imparting, you are not passing across the right message, or you have not been able to get it internalized in your student. Whichever way, you still to assess yourself as the instructor. So that's why we emphasize what is given out and the level at which that gets implanted or appreciated.
So education goes beyond the academic education.
Far beyond that. Okay. That's why it's a process and it never ends. You can't say, okay, I think I've gotten a PhD, I don't want to learn. If you learn until you die, most will be a profession.
Okay, Mrs. Amayo, let me hear from you. What would your definition of education be?
Ferrari, in his article, talked about humanizing an individual. As human beings, we are beings of praxis. Praxis in the sense that we tend to determine the environment. We are prone to development. We are prone to change. We are prone to so many things. And in each facet of these things surrounding our lives as human beings, we got to be educated to be able to fit into what we want and what we are providing for ourselves. So education entails making a human being being good at what he ought to be. Now you have to educate a human being by educating the head intellectually, educating the mind, the heart effectively, educating the hands and legs psychomotor. That the person should be intellectually okay, the person should be effectively okay, and then the person should be skill acquisitional okay. Then you say the person is humanized. We're talking about education. We cannot put away policies of education. We cannot put away what is to be learned. The body of knowledge to be given to a human being to humanize him is also part of education. The culture itself, what we take out of the culture to give to a human being is education itself. And also another thing about education is civilization. So education is actually humanizing a human being, and it is a process. It is a continuated thing. It doesn't stop.
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to get these definitions because I saw I was looking in the dictionary to try and find, and I'm like, okay. One of the ones I saw, they said the highest result of education is tolerance. They said education is teaching. I learned that is a knowledge in basic skills, academics, technical discipline. Then my next question would be, who is responsible for the education? Who teaches? Who gives an education? Is it the school? Is it the society? Is it the parents? But before we talk about that, let's take a break. When we come back from the break, we will continue on that note. Let's take a break. Welcome back. We're still talking about education as it should be. Let me start with you, Dr. Yemi.
Okay.
Yes. Who is responsible?
The society.
The society is everybody.
Everybody. We have to stop looking at education as something that ought to be done by a particular institution or government. We need to appreciate the fact that education could be formal and informal. So when you are defining education or describing it, if you talk of formal education, that's the one somebody will sit you down, teach you A+2. The informal, learn through the society, at home, religious institutions.
Wait, can I ask this question? Which one has a bigger impact? Is it the formal or the informal?
Both.
Both of them have
Both.
equal.
Both.
Okay.
You see, you can train. Somebody may be skilled in terms of formal education, but responsiveness of that person as to be able to impact on the society will be lacking. So education broadly must be instructive, must be reformative, and must be innovative.
Everybody should be responsible for the education of everybody. We all had to be responsible for the education of every one of us here. But we have this in different structures. The policymaker is responsible. The end of the policy, who is the teacher, is responsible. The learner himself has to be responsible for his own learning, because you have to take action into learning. You have to go to school to learn. You have to listen to your parents to take instruction to learn. You have to take instruction from the society to learn. You're walking on the street and there is a sidewalk. Definitely that is education from the society. No one is saying, hey, stop, pass here, but it's an education from no one speaking, from no voice. It's from the society. You're walking around the road and you see something going wrong, you say, hey, that is wrong. Everybody is responsible for the education of everybody. But we have it in different structures. We have it in different structures. When we talk about educating the head intellectually, we say the school has a much role to play. When we talk about effective educating the mind, the heart, we say all the organizations, the home, the church, the mosque, generally everybody is involved. We also talk about educating the hands and the legs, psychomotor. We talk about apprenticeship. So these things are in different structures, but everybody is involved. Look at the young one just been born, 1 year, 6 months, already in school. When he wakes in the morning, he already have that in his mind that he got to go to the in front of the house to wait for what? The school bus. He's taking part in his own education. The driver is coming to pick the child up. He is taking part. He's part of the society. Everybody is responsible for the education of everybody.
That's very perfect. Any other thing?
Yes, the contributions have been great. I will just add this. Someone said that every place is a classroom. Every individual you meet is a teacher.
Really?
And every occasion is a lesson. So what does that? It tells us that just as the agents of socialization are involved, are supposed to be responsible for your education, you are also responsible for your education. So it involves virtually everyone.
Let's take a break, please. Welcome back. We're still talking about education as it should be. We heard really nice things, let me call them educative words right now, and I'm really pleased about that. We see people who, for all intents and purposes, you will call educated, even in government. And then we ask ourselves, somebody has a PhD. When they open their mouths to speak, you wonder, is this person educated? Which gives me the idea that we expect education to be more than a degree.
Sure.
But daily, we see people who have degrees, but don't seem to have gotten it up here somehow. Also, when it comes to just learning to do things on our own, they say Nigerians, you have to force them with a whip to do everything. And we have schools. So I'm wondering, what is wrong?
One thing is this, we fail to realize is, and I hope teachers do watch this program, mostly on topics like this. The classroom is a community of learning. In that, a teacher should bring into the classroom life experiences. Because if you want to look at education today, what it should be, we are in the 21st century, and I think colleges of education, universities, breeding teachers should understand or should put in place what we call 21st century pedagogy. You understand that? It is a new dimension of teaching people for this 21st century. Education is it is transformative. It is transforming. It is social. We say learning is what? A change in behavior as a result of what? Experience. If we are learned, it means our behaviors have been changed from dehumanized to humanizing behavior. If we really want education to be the way it wants to be, we should look at the word as what? An industrial age right now. Yeah. We should look at the word as a word that needs peace right now. We should also look at the word as a global marketplace, a social networking community. We should look at the word the way it is. And if the word is the way it is, then the classroom should be what the word is. Because the people you are teaching are going to go into the word. That means I should teach this girl ethics of the workplace from the classroom. Interpersonal relationship, intrapersonal relationship as well. Knowing yourself, your strength and your weaknesses, and how to relate to people. It becomes interpersonal skills. It must be from the classroom. And if the teacher doesn't have it, the teacher can give it. If the curriculum doesn't have it. If the curriculum doesn't have it, the curriculum won't give it. And thank God that now they're saying that civic education should come back. I wonder why they took it away in the first place. Thank God it's coming back. Now, I'm going to teach my student to have interpersonal relationship skills, interpersonal relationship skills, effective relationship skills, and intellectual relationship skills, and skill acquisition skills. She must learn the skill to acquire skills. Like when she gets into the workplace. Do you know what is demanded in the workplace today? When you get to the bank, you need not be told how to do everything in the working place. Intuitively, you should know what to do. Collaboration with your colleagues. You have to have problem-solving, critical thinking skills, which should be learned from the classroom. You get to work as a banker. You have a problem with your machine. You know who to call. And there are some things you need to do before you call who to do it. It means you have problem-solving skills, which should have been taught from right in nursery school, which your parents should have taught you at home as informal education, and which your peer group, your mate, should teach you when you have a problem. You dialogue. You think about what caused the problem. Okay, how do we solve the problem? Not fighting, not picking up nails, not picking up guns, and not abusing each other. This is all education. We have to look at the marketplace. We have to look at the word. What is in the word? Then we transfer all those into the classroom. We say, yes, a child is educated.
We need to understand that education is a partnership.
Okay.
We all got to play our roles. But at the level of higher education, which issues like that gets played out. We could see on the one hand societal influence,
Values.
parental pressure, peer pressures, and institutional pressure as well. Let me use that. So you try to locate yourself within those forces. On the one hand, you want to be a TV person. In fact, you wanted to go for mass comm. But your dad is a senior advocate of Nigeria. He says, not in my house. That law you have to read. And you're not good at that.
Do lecturers or teachers in this country encourage students to use their initiative?
Definitely. That's one of the mandate of lecturers. And
or does it happen?
It ought to happen. I will tell you why it's not happening. Because the level at which our educational or curriculum is responding to global trend is slow. Now, if you are in architecture, and you don't have a laptop of your own, you don't have basic software, you're not going to be able to deploy those modern skills to generate modern drawings.
In our system,
Yes.
like you were asking a question where you told, like in the country where I schooled, I was told, and I'm not surprised at where I am now. You understand? I got the footpath. You understand? I'm not surprised because I was guided and counseled. In the Nigerian university system, we don't have that student-lecturer relationship of counseling and getting what you want. Remember, education is making a human being to also be what is good at being.
Yes.
you see a child is not doing well in mathematics, and even at that level where they have 2 plus 2 and long division, he's not doing well. The primary school class teacher, most of them are females, and most of them are not mathematically inclined.
No.
Really?
But that person is, most of them, not all of them. But that person keeps teaching mathematics in primary 4 for 10 years. She's still teaching that subject. And the children are not getting it well. We are not assessing them well. He goes to primary 6, he goes to secondary school. When he gets to JSS 3, they tell him to choose without counseling. And then they say they do exam. Okay, he passed this one well. Let him go for art. How much have you assessed the child? That's where the problem starts from. So getting to the university in our own curriculum system is not the problem, but abroad is different. Here, the child has already made up his mind. His parents have chosen for him, or he has chosen for himself, or what he passed has chosen for him,
yes.
Which in most cases
so
is
what usually what you pass
has chosen
people
for
just
you.
assume,
but it's not supposed to be so. We are to teach and guide and help them to choose from the secondary. At least from JSS1, a teacher, a school should know the path that the child is doing.
And in addition to that, let me just add this.
Yeah.
You see, she talked about a teacher of mathematics,
yes,
who never wanted to teach mathematics in the first instance because she wanted to work in a bank. She read economics, but she couldn't get a job. But she got a job
as a teacher.
As a teacher, and she's been teaching grudgingly mathematics for the past 10 years, a decade. I want to nobody's assessing her. No. What do teachers?
Do teachers get assessed?
Report?
No.
Yes.
Nobody's.
From who?
No quality control, no quality checks, no quality assurance, and she keeps churning out students, mathematicians who want to go and study engineering in the university.
Oh.
Let me ask you this very important question.
Yes.
Do teachers get assessed before you go in? Go on. I just want to know.
Proper assessment of teachers is not being done.
Okay.
Fine.
At the level of the school, people shirk responsibilities. Those who are supposed to assess teachers are themselves not on top of their jobs.
Let me give you
Within
my
the
own
school,
background.
I remember decades, 1 or 2 decades ago, several years ago, when we were in secondary school, when there are days that the school, even teachers in school, you see them fidgeting. You know something is happening.
Yes. Yes.
Inspectors are around. It is not only students.
I'm coming, Dr. Yemi.
I'm not
I'll
saying
copy.
in essence that inspections are not being done now, but you can't compare it to what the quality we used to have. The subject matter of this discourse, education,
Yes.
is the most important thing we should be talking about, and this is a big kudos to this program. You understand me? Our leaders need to realize that the future, the key to economic prosperity of Nigeria, the key to technological development, the key to making Nigeria one of the first worlds, as you would want to call it, is not in the price of crude oil, whether it goes up or down. That is a short-term thing. It is in education. Let's look at access to education. Access to education. Education is supposed to be education
right.
is supposed to be a basic right. Education is supposed to have the potential of leveling opportunities. It's supposed to be an opportunity leveler. But the way we have it today, the inequalities we have in the society, education contributes to it. It's not supposed to be like that. How many students, how many people are not in school today that are supposed to be in school? We learned that education is supposed to be affordable. How affordable? Is it affordable? Is it accessible? It's not accessible for so many people. It is not at all. And so many things have to be addressed. Some people have certificates that they cannot really demonstrate any level of competence to justify. Now, there are so many issues at stake. We need to go back to educational policy. We need to look at our curricula. There are lots of things to be done in the area of adjusting the curriculum or the curricula.
Even the curriculum is not equal in all schools.
I need to take a break. When I come back from the break, I'll
Okay.
still talk to you. Dr. Yemi will be hearing you after the break. Let's take a break, please.
Welcome to
Welcome back. We're still talking education as it should be, and I was saying this thing is bigger than me, and I'm not sure if we have enough time to address all the issues. We'll keep talking education. We've done it on so many episodes. We won't stop talking because it's important. Let me talk to Dr. Okay, let me hear from you.
My colleague was talking about assessment.
Yes.
And it's a very crucial issue. We need to say more about assessment. I studied partly. I would say partly because the master's and PhD I had abroad, and I taught in 2 universities in Canada.
Okay.
We were assessed.
Who assessed you?
My students.
Your students?
I'm getting there. At the end of each course, the lecturer will go out. A no-name assessment test will be applied. Scripts are given to students to assess the lecturer, pronunciation, every detail, punctuality,
criteria.
And that gets sent directly to a board, and that forms basis of your promotion.
Wow.
I'm not done yet. At my PhD level, my supervisors was applying to move from associate prof to prof, and they will they will request for confidential reference or references from all graduate students supervised by him or her.
Wow.
So if
so it is important for him to make sure you understand.
It's a reciprocal thing. It's element of responsibility. If you're a bad lecturer, I will simply say so, and you'll never be promoted.
Wow.
So I had to write report as to who he is, the way he supervised me, and a whole lot of things. And that
is like the best thing ever.
So you are conscious that these students will assess you just as you are assessing them, so that they will pass you.
I've never heard that before, but that is fantastic.
And again, talking about government, it depends on the kind of premium placed on education. I don't think we are ready in Nigeria, and we're all responsible, because some countries would, after providing for their citizens, they will provide for foreigners, like myself. I had my first degree in Nigeria law, and I never had any connection with any white man. And I was just applying normal thing, trying to go to Canada, and I had all expenses paid, scholarship for my master's and PhD. So at the end of my master's and PhD, I realized how much a Canadian system, a system in Canada spent on me, Nigerian, and I don't think I have done anything for them. Millions in Naira. I mean, for you to have a 1-year master's program abroad, at least you know how much you're going to spend, minimum of 5-6 million, feeding all kinds of things. And I had that for 4 years. And I came back to Nigeria, I was asking questions. And the kind of education that they impart to you there, you can't compare it. I mean, as a researcher, graduate student, I was responding to call for papers, to go to conferences, and I was presenting papers at conferences.
That's what I was talking about, that beyond what you learn and vomit from your teacher.
You're regurgitating what you
thought. Yes.
I was exposed. I was flying every now and then.
That was while in school.
While in school.
Real life experience.
You can't compare it. I had access to about 10 million journal-based articles on my laptop. In my little cell, which is my research room, and I have access to a lot of books, and there is interlibrary loan facility. If there is any book or material that I need now, even if it's a manuscript with the publisher, I'll get it in less than 48 hours.
Wow.
So the question is not lack of materials to work with, it is one material too many. So you can't compare the standard of education, of advanced education like master's, graduate program there with what we have here. We're just pushing, we're trying. The libraries are not...
It doesn't sound like we're even trying at all.
Honestly,
to be honest with you, it sounds sad.
We need to start. Let's look at how much the government spends on each student in the university. School fees, how much the lecturers are paid, allowances. I was paid for studying. I didn't have to go struggling for what I'm going to eat. At some point, I came back married took my wife there. We got documents. We went there to study, and they made us part of them. We came back with our passport, and we are still Nigerian. A lot of opportunities. They encourage you to be the best you set out to be.
In the world of work, you need skills and competencies,
Yes.
marketable skills and competencies. And you don't get that dropping from heaven like manna. You get that from school. That is why you are sent through primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions. And if you don't acquire these things there, then you come out of the institution and you join just the army of job seekers, and you'll just be there mopping. And that is the situation today. Those who manage to get into the place of work somehow are not on top of their jobs. They don't perform, and employers of labor kick them out before you know what is happening. Present curriculum in Nigeria is structured in such a way that it is 95% theory. And it gives very little room for practical skills acquisition.
And that is what is
And that
important
is-
in today's society.
And that is
isn't
what is
it?
important in today's society. That is why people do not have the skills and competencies
At the
to get
workplace.
jobs. The education that is functional and that is effective is one that even allows for the acquisition of entrepreneurial skills. You prepare people for the future, for challenges out there, to be able to, you prepare people to be fulfilled, to be actualized. But the present state of things
So
I'm
our
very sorry to
current
say,
curriculum places too much emphasis
on theory.
It is just passive. It's not active for the learner. It's only passive.
And such, the purpose is not achieved. I'm sorry, I started by talking about purpose. You see, whenever you want to do something and you don't clearly define your goal, you don't clearly define your goal, you are not clear about what goal you want to achieve, you are not likely to get there. In other society, other nations, where education is achieving
its desired objectives.
Desired objectives, it's because the policy makers are clear, very clear about what they want to achieve. It is when you are clear about what you want to achieve.
The foundation right now is
Yes,
faulty.
when you are clear about what you want to achieve and you set the structure and you put the manpower to go about actualizing these things, you will get there. In Nigeria today, why do we keep changing educational policies? What is wrong with 634?
I don't know.
And if it is wrong, it is not because the idea is wrong. Every new administration wants to come up with something new.
Yes.
So there is systemic problem that needs to be addressed right from the roots.
Education as a sector used to attract the best, to be able to produce the best.
Yes.
There is in fact, total negation of that. It's completely upside
So now,
down.
if you can't get a job anywhere else, you
What
become
I'm
a
saying is
teacher.
the educational sector, from primary school up to the university, attracts the worst. Because a first-class student will go to Globe, MTN, Slovakia, Shell, Chevron, then 2-1 banks here and there. Then those who are struggling quickly go and do masters. Then please, sir, Bamisa, then teaching job, then you start to teach. Primary school, least paid. Secondary school, the same thing. University, how much are they paid? So if you want the best in terms of personnel, to be able to churn out the best in terms of product, you got, it's a reflection of garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
So educational sector attracts the worst in terms
Right
of
now.
personnel now. The best student in mathematics will surely not come back to the classroom. And you expect somebody to teach mathematics. It goes to MTN. There was a day I was discussing with somebody, said the guy had first class in engineering, where I met him in the banking hall as a teller. I said, well, sorry, you're in the wrong place. He knows. But he needs the money because the educational sector can't afford that much. So we need to.
Nigerian and African Nigerian are going for credentials more than potential. And that has been the order of this generation. So there must be a redefinition of that. We also need to understand the etymological meaning of education, as it were. Education is from the root Latin word educo, which we can have the English meaning to just mean educe. And educe means to bring something forth from within. And bring something forth from within. In this part of the world, especially in Africa, in Nigeria, people cram to write exams. So that's why we have educated illiterate. Many people who went through university, but university did not go through them.
Definitely.
All right. Now, the problem is we have not really applied education as to what we need to use it for in our life, in our own daily life. Like they say that necessity is the mother of invention. We have so many educated people in Nigeria. They are not doing with the education. We speak big grammars. We speak big, we talk about where we've been to America, we've been to, but what we have gotten, what have we been doing with it? And now if we're going to move, it's going to be a new paradigm, a new change in this part of the world, Nigeria. There is nothing wrong with Nigeria, but there are so many things wrong in Nigeria as to education. There's supposed to be a restructuring of education in this country. Otherwise, we're still going to have many people, like she said, somebody about the car and all stuff like that. We have people that go to university, don't you know who I am? I graduated with so thing. Nigeria should go beyond that. We should have people coming out of university, oh, I can make my own GSM phone. Yeah. Right? Like my name is Dele. With the education I've got of technology in university, and I should be able to stand on my own and do something with it. Being proactive, take initiative, and I'm not going to wait for government. John Kennedy said, you don't wait for what the government will do for you. You have to do something for the society. We should go beyond that. Thank you.
And I want to say something here, please. Yeah. In as much as teachers have their excuses, we shouldn't underpin it to that. Every profession has its hazards. Let's talk about those who learn about the weather. Upon all the money they get, they go up, anything can happen to them. Yeah. You want to tell me because you aren't earning much like the banker and so you shouldn't teach? It's because you don't have it in you. I'm sorry to say, but whenever I come across teachers and they tell me, well, I'm not well paid, they shouldn't underpin it to that. I want to ask a question. Where have we ever been satisfied with whatever we have in our lives? Not. People go into marriages, women say, oh, the marriage is not good, the man is not good, but we are still there performing our best. Why? Are we being paid to be in the marriage? You look at the child that is misbehaving, he's breaking your heart, he's doing a lot of things, like a boy I heard came into a close and broke into people's houses and stole things. Will the mother not say, oh, because he's not going to be my child again? No. Open all that. We shouldn't pin it on the teachers that know well paid.
You know, I think what from what you said, what it is that we don't have people who are actually passionate.
Even the government teachers are well paid than the private teachers. But the private teachers even spend time teaching better. So where do you pin that to?
In our school system, especially universities, if you really want the best for these children, for the students, the undergraduates, there's supposed to be an interface between the industry and the university. Definitely. That is how it is abroad.
An alliance.
People that have practiced accounting, mass comm, law, that have practiced or that are practicing, that have acquired years of experience and have the competence, should come and teach. It's not those who have all their lives only been teaching the theories. Exactly. Except we change that paradigm, things will not change here.
That is such a good idea.
Except we change that paradigm. There should be an interface between the industry and the institution. If we don't have that,
that's the problem.
That is where the actual training comes in.
Exactly.
I just want to look at what we have today is what we have academic gratification and education indiscipline. In primary school and secondary school a few years ago, I think I belong to the group where your parents, when you are not doing well, the teacher will come and report to the parents and give you a discipline. I taught in most of these private schools, about 10 private schools, as a government teacher. I've been a victim with all these proprietors. You talk about continuous assessment. I marked down a student who scored 45 below. And the parents came to me. They organized a parents-teacher association, and he spoke it that the former teacher used to pass my child 75%. Why are you giving my child?
Why are you stingy with your marks?
I say I have my educational discipline.
Yes.
I discovered that the proprietor called me. He said, you keep on writing red biro. Increase the mark. I'm talking from experience. Yes. From there, I said, I'm not teaching again.
That's fake assessment.
Let me go. That's what, when you were talking about fake assessment, is very correct. You are hitting the nail on the head. So we are not having problems with our education. The solution is that our government should stop the inconsistent policy. Today, we have new 9 universities. Yes. Tomorrow, you will come again, Polytechnic being converted to university. The theoretical and practical things must be stopped. We need to go to the right channel and get the right people at the right time.
what we have in Nigeria presently is not education but schooling. I want us all to take it back to our homes, the nitty-gritty of every society and nation. I, as a person, learned some of the best things I've ever known that have brought me to this level from my grandma. Now, she would tell me, bring sticks, join them together, 2 sticks plus 2 sticks, make 4. And when you say 2 times 2 in a classroom, I know it's 4. It will stick in my head. I'll never forget it. And that was the time when I had an assignment from school. I brought it home, piled on my books on the dining, and I expected my parents to take watch on them. Because of their busy schedules, nobody took a look at that book. No time. But I'm happy for the kind of home I came out from, and because of the principles I saw there, most especially for my grannies and all of that. I was able to take these principles and apply them in my classroom. And when other people are saying peer influence, peer this, peer that, if you are well grounded from home, I'm telling you, it will be very difficult for someone in the classroom to influence you. Rather, you be an influence to that person. So if our parents get it right from the home, Nigeria starts from our homes. Nigeria starts from our kitchens. Nigeria starts from our living rooms. If you can get it down there, the institutions will be perfect and our industries will work very well. Thank you very much.
You know, I keep saying this, that I don't know why any student who goes out of this country to do a master's, we always excel.
Sure. Yes.
When you look at the honors list, you must find a Nigerian
Definitely.
name. There's no way, anywhere in the world. And that we have all this in us, and it takes going somewhere else to get it out, is a sad thing. Wow. Can I get last line?
Yeah, the society may not be able to give you the best in terms of education. I know a young man who left with almost nothing in terms of skills and competencies. He went and enrolled himself to learn certain skills in line with his profession so that he will go out there and have the competitive edge. Today he's doing very well. Government may be paying lip service to education. Education may be poorly funded. You may not be getting the best. Lecturers may not be committed. They may not have passion. But it is about you. On your part, it's a question of opportunity cost. Instead of that BlackBerry, would you not go and get trained on Peachtree before you graduate or before you even finish ICANN? Would you not go to a school where you can learn camera handling and editing? Yes. So that by the time you finish from the School of Mass Communications, even before you finish, you can be on your own and begin to roll money to your banks. So don't wait. There are certain things you don't have to wait for. Don't put the blame entirely on the government. We are all responsible, and you are responsible for your success. It's about you. Thank you.
Mrs. Amaya.
The teaching field is not a dumping ground, and I don't want you to see that people just jump into teaching because they have nothing else to do. The teaching field entails people who know it, and not only know it, people who can give it out. So teachers are not just to teach content, but teach the learners the content. That's one. Number 2, for a teacher to do effectively well, look at the world as an industrial place, as a global place for socioeconomic networking, and bring all that into the classroom. And the last is, everybody is responsible for everybody's education. And education is not just book. It is being able to take care of yourself in your environment.
Okay.
Let me challenge my audience here and there. You see, we can't put the blame on the government. You are responsible, it's your life. Granted that the universities are not performing at optimal level, but there is something called the cyber world, wherein there is cyber teachers, cyber information, and cyber knowledge to complement whatever deficiencies in those universities. Spend your time not on those
Facebook,
not on those Twitters, not listening to those songs. Check out those materials, those articles, those formulas, those calculations, those solutions, those new mathematical issues, those scientific discoveries. Engage yourself in self-learning and self-development to complement for deficiencies in the system. because we're in the era of global competitiveness.
Yeah.
Where knowledge-based engagement. You earn money based on what you know. Look at it all over the world. Those who are making the most money are those who are able to use their brains, including those Facebook guys. They use their brains.
I'd like to say a very big thank you to the three of you. You know, sometimes I do topics here that change the way I look at life, and this is one of those times. And I pick up things that stay with me the rest of my life. And this is I'm having one of those moments here, and I'm sure everybody else who is in the audience here has taken away something. I thank you very much. I'm hoping that you would come again. We're going to keep talking about education. There's a need for the generation coming up to know that they also have a responsibility, and also to awaken government as to what is wrong in the system. Hopefully one day we will get a listening government that would actually do what is right by us. You can send your comments, questions, observations to insideoutwithagatha@yahoo.com, or check up our website www.insideoutmedia.tv, or join us on Facebook www.facebook.com/Agatha Matai. A very big thank you to our sponsors, Voltic Water, SA Peacock for our food, Accord for my hair, to my fantastic audience. Thank you very much for your contribution. Bye-bye and see you next week.